Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Atkins at Blue Oasis, and I'm going to talk to you today about thyroid disease in dogs.
What does the thyroid do in dogs?
So, the thyroid is a gland within the neck that is involved in a lot of different things in the body. So, it can help regulate weight and metabolism and energy levels. And when it starts to have changes, we notice some of those with our dogs.
Is hyperthyroidism common in dogs?
Hyperthyroidism, where the body is producing too much thyroid hormone, is actually not very common in dogs. We see it more frequently in cats. So in dogs, we mostly focus on hypothyroidism, or where the body produces too little thyroid hormone.
What dogs are most likely to develop hypothyroidism?
So thyroid disease can actually happen in any dog, but we can see it typically in our middle-aged dogs. And there's not a whole lot of breed specificity for this disease.
What causes hypothyroidism in dogs?
So there's two main things that will cause hypothyroidism in dogs. The one that I find most commonly is an autoimmune disease where the body starts attacking the thyroid gland and they start producing less thyroid hormone over time. And then the other is that they start degenerating some of their thyroid glands. So over time, the body just stops producing it, not necessarily from an immune-mediated response, but just over time it can happen.
What are the most common symptoms of hypothyroidism?
So my typical patient that I'll see when I start to think about hypothyroidism, they're kind of those fat, lazy dogs that are gaining weight without really changing their diet. So that's a really big clue to me. Owners will say, I just feel like they're gaining weight, but we haven't changed their diet. We haven't added more snacks, anything like that. They're more lazy than normal. They're just not really as energetic. They're more heat-seeking. Sometimes we'll also notice thinning of the skin and thinning of the fur, and it can be anywhere on the body, but a lot of times we'll see it on the tail and also on the flanks. A lot of times we'll see a lot of skin changes. So some of our patients who are having recurrent ear and skin infections.
Can thyroid disease affect a dog's behavior or mood?
So it actually can. They can actually become more kind of sleepy and lazy, but it's not necessarily a personality change per se. It's just that their thyroid's not functioning appropriately, so they're not really having that energy level like they should. It's more of a change from the disease rather than like a personality change.
How do veterinarians diagnose thyroid disease?
So we always start out with a really good exam and, like I've mentioned before, a good history from the owner to kind of catch some of those signs that we'll see. But what really becomes important is our lab work. So we rely pretty heavily on our lab work to really tease out this as a diagnosis.
Can thyroid tests ever be misleading?
So with our thyroid tests, the answer is yes, for sure, because the thyroid can be suppressed for many other reasons aside from just thyroid disease in dogs, which is why we rely pretty heavily on our lab work. A lot of times people will think that it's just a T4 that we'll check, but really if we're seeing concerns for a decreased thyroid value in a dog that's exhibiting some of these symptoms, we'll actually run like a thyroid confirmation panel that'll include a free T4, ideally by equilibrium dialysis, and also sometimes a TSH. So we kind of interpret that along with our clinical signs because it can be misleading sometimes.
How is hypothyroidism treated?
So we use an oral tablet every day called levothyroxine. It's depending on the dose, we can do it sometimes once a day, sometimes twice a day, and it tends to be a medication that will keep them on for life. So just like humans that have thyroid disease, it is something that will be a lifelong drug for them to take.
How do you monitor treatment?
So with monitoring, once we start them on the medication, we usually will recheck their thyroid value about a month after we start treatment. but a lot of times you'll see a change in energy levels and just overall like well-being within 2 weeks of starting medication. Sometimes the hair and coat changes can take a little longer though.
What happens if thyroid disease goes untreated?
So if thyroid disease goes untreated, we can definitely have poor quality of life with our just kind of generalized lethargy and energy levels being decreased. We can have continued weight gain and just not being able to really regulate our metabolism like we should be able to. Okay, thanks everyone for watching and learning about thyroid disease in dogs with me. If you have any questions or you think your dog might be hypothyroid, please reach out to us and we'll help get a diagnosis.